mother leaves her young kids alone in the house for 4 years.
Everybody's upset about it, like, oh my God, this is right in our neighborhood.
Apparently, this woman, her landlord, stopped getting rent and hearing from her, so he called 911 for a welfare check.
Had no idea that there were kids there, let alone kids in grave situation.
3 children were inside, trash piled up, poop everywhere. The kids said that their mother left them there since at least 2021.
They had difficulty walking because their toenails were so long.
A despicable discovery, and the Shade Room is digging. Her Facebook post that's got people on social media on 10.
It doesn't get lower than this. It was Valentine's Day, a day to celebrate love, but it turned into a day of horror in Pontiac, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. It was horror that a 15-year-old boy, a 13-year-old girl, and a 12-year-old girl had been living for years. This was their normal. We're blurring out some parts, but you can see the bathroom overtaken by trash, mold, and feces. The girls, they slept on pizza boxes. They had not seen the light of day since about 2020 or 2021. But how? Where were the neighbors? Where was the school district? Their extended family members? Questions that we're getting down to the bottom of.
We went to the house to check on what was going on there and had no idea that there were kids there, let alone kids in grave situation.
Their hair was matted. They were covered in urine and feces.
When we took the kids out of the house, they had difficulty walking because their toenails were so long. They hadn't had any grooming. I don't think they had basic hygiene knowledge of what to do. They hadn't been given hygiene products for years, toothbrushes, etc.
It was everyday life for these 3 siblings. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard telling the Fox affiliate in Detroit that they had not attended school since their abandonment. Instead, they were locked inside this condo on Lydia Lane to never come out.
We showed up at the house. The young boy did have communication with the mom and said the police were there, and she said hide.
The 2 girls, they did hide in the bathroom until they were asked to open the door.
There was garbage, trash piled 3 and 4 feet high, covered with feces all through the house. It doesn't look like the toilet or the bathtub had been usable or workable for quite some time, primarily because of the feces and trash.
Investigators had to use hazmat suits to process the scene for evidence. The kids telling deputies that they spent day and night passing time by playing games and watching TV. They would only see their mother when she or another stranger would stop by once a week to drop pre-prepared food on the porch.
If you think about the horrific ads you see on TV to spur donations for animals that have been abused or are living in terrible conditions, multiply that by 10.
Sheriff Bouchard not releasing the mother's name because she shares the same name as one of her daughters. So we at the Shade Room, we're not sharing it either to protect the child's identity, but we did find the 34-year-old's mugshot in the county database. She's still sitting in jail. Charges haven't been listed at this time. The prosecutor's office said publicly, quote, that it will not comment on the pending case until it has been reviewed and a charging decision has been made.
It's pretty heartbreaking that the kids would have to live under those conditions. People just kind of get in their car and go.
Neighbor Emma Gross couldn't believe it. She lives on a different block, but says that in that neighborhood, everybody typically keeps to themselves.
So I think people are just kind of just doing their own thing now and just kind of going in their places and closing the doors.
Neighbors reported seeing the mother come and go with items, but never spotted any children with her. You also can't ignore what role the Pontiac School District played in all of this. The district confirming Monday that the 3 children are not currently enrolled, and they couldn't comment any further. The interim superintendent, Dr. Kimberly Leverett, releasing a statement saying in part, quote, the Pontiac community has been shaken by the horrifying story of the 3 children who were discovered suffering from extreme neglect this past weekend. As a school district, we are working with the Oakland County Sheriff's Department to assist in any way we can. As educators, our hearts are breaking for these children and what they have endured over the past several years.
how could something like this happen? These children, how could people go living every day and not see something like this and report it sooner?
A question so many want to know, and why their mother, too, had been posting on Facebook a week prior to her arrest, advertising a free food giveaway, knowing that her children were home alone, living in squalor.
Everybody's upset. Everybody's upset about it. Like, oh my God, this is right in our neighborhood. How could something like this happen?
What about their extended family? Well, the children's alleged aunt has been very vocal on social media about this, even threatening to fight people on Facebook who come after her. She said that she had no idea what was going on. We've reached out to her for a comment. We're waiting to hear back. The sheriff's office, in the meantime, says that the mother was arrested without incident at another location and that the children's father was not involved in their lives. The children, though, they've been turned over to a relative through Child Protective Services as the sheriff's office is collecting donations now on the family's behalf.
Total stranger spoke up for a voice that could not be heard. And look at where we are.
A 2-year-old voice that cannot be heard after police find his body in a dumpster. His parents now charged with his murder. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Denise Valdez.
I'm Brian Loftus. It is a case our 8 News Now investigators reported first. Now they're digging into possible missed opportunities to help.
8 News Now investigator David Charnes with the video you have not seen, and also asking the question, did 2-year-old Jacobe Robinson Jr. have to die?
Say hi, Jacobe. Say hi. Say hi, Jacobe.
These are the memories Gracie Martin wants to remember. Memories of joy and happiness. Memories of her grandson, Jacobe Robinson Jr., before police found his body in a dumpster.
Only an animal would discard their own child the way that he was discarded.
A Las Vegas City marshal finding the boy there after his mother, Deja Smith, reported him missing. Hours later, police would arrest Smith and Martin's son, Jacobe Robinson Sr., for the boy's death. A death detectives believe happened after weeks of abuse.
I kiss him every morning and every night. And tell him that I love him.
Now, as her son and his girlfriend await trial from jail, this is all Gracie Martin has left.
I just don't want him to be alone.
An urn filled with Jacobe's ashes.
No other child that's in CPS care or anybody else care deserve to be in an urn or to be buried.
Police suspect Smith beat Jacobe and his younger brother in the weeks before Jacobe's death. On June 6th, detectives say this video shows Smith leaving the apartment she and her children shared. She's pushing a stroller before she calls 911 to report Jacobe missing. In the back of the stroller, police believe Jacobe's body is laying lifeless because they believe he's already dead. Minutes later, another camera catches Smith pushing the stroller toward a dumpster. Then, the sound of metal hitting metal. Smith walks back into frame with 2 children, not 3. In all, Martin says her son and Smith have 5 children together. 2 children born before Jacobe now live in Texas.
It's just been history and just years of abuse that CPS, whether it was in Texas, Nevada, Oklahoma, known that she has been known to abuse her kids because she got them taken before.
Clark County Family Services declined to comment on that history. This case and Jacobe's death, all citing state law. The only record that is public is this child fatality report. filed with the state, matching Jacobe's date of birth and his date of death. It says the department received a report in 2022 about neglect, leading the state to remove the children, then Jacobe and his younger brother, from their mother's care. On April 1st, 2 months before Jacobe was put in the dumpster, Smith, deemed a quote appropriate caregiver, was reunited with her children. Now Jacobe, his younger brother, and a baby.
There's a lady that is feeding a baby. He has to be, if he's 2, I'm surprised.
On May 25th, 7 weeks after regaining custody of her 3 children.
And she's physically hitting the child?
Yep, he fell under the stroller. He's walking on the side. He fell under the stroller.
A driver calls 911, reporting a woman, later identified as Smith, hitting Jacobe's brother while near a bus stop.
The one that she's beating the most is the one in the red t-shirt.
Video the 8 News Now investigators obtained shows Metro Police responding to that call. Deja Smith telling the officer the child, the one in the red shirt, just 22 months old, fell in the street.
My kids are beating up to you? I just got them back from foster care. Everything's fine.
Is it?
Yes.
I just got my kids back 2 weeks ago. Got them back from where? CPS. That would have been the thing. Got them back from where?
Photos the 8 News Now investigators obtained show Jacobe and his brother in foster care before they were returned to their mother's custody. They're smiling and happy. These photos show the injuries to the boy after their parents' arrest. Scratches and whip marks cover his body. Detectives call them loop marks, injuries in various stages of healing caused by a charging cord or a small extension cord.
He's fine, sir. I can promise you he's fine.
The boy, frightened and confused as a stranger looms over him, goes into his mother's arms. It's something the officer notes when he's back in his cruiser, and he's talking with another officer about what to do next.
And then he went at hours too. It's gonna be a negative 424.
The notes from that call show the officer wrote no signs of 424. 424, the code for abuse or neglect.
11 days later, my grandson get dumped in a dumpster like it's nothing. They had an outlet that day. And my grandson, had to go out in the most despicable way by the hands of his own mother.
We always say, call and make a report.
Michelle Saldivar is an outreach coordinator with Prevent Child Abuse Nevada.
In cases where there is child abuse or neglect, that doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't a lack of love or care between the parent and the child.
She stresses the importance of that 911 caller, the fact that someone made the report, but she stresses the need for the work not to end there.
I'm not sure if there was follow-up done after, but that's kind of where, my mind goes to too, of like what could have been done after.
Just the phone call itself coming in saying that this child had been hit with either closed fist or open fist, either one, that was the red flag, the number one red flag being called in.
Martin questions why more wasn't done in the hours after, hours that turned into days before her grandson was allegedly murdered at his mother's hands.
I know by hating her, it's not going to bring Jacobe back. She's going to get her day that she deserves, because he got his.
Now, she's holding those memories close, holding all she has left even closer.
If he didn't mean anything to her, he meant something to me. And to do him like that and to see him in that dumpster, that's something I'd never be able to get out of my head again.
We asked both the county and police about whether anyone made a report or investigated in the days after that 911 call. We didn't receive any responses. Gracie Martin, Jacobe's grandmother, says she doesn't know if her son, Jacobe's father, was even aware of the abuse and believes the agency that gave Deja Smith custody is to blame. She also says she's going to be a grandmother again because Smith is pregnant in jail with her 6th child.
Jacobe Robinson Sr. previously telling the 8 News Now investigators from jail that he was trying to come up with a plan to leave with his kids. He also told us he didn't know about the severity of the abuse. Smith has declined our interview request. Both parents have pleaded not guilty, and a trial is scheduled for next summer.